and we have 3 tips to have a happy holiday retirement.
Hello, this is John Convery, aka Santa, and thank you for joining us for this edition of Retire with Coffee. Michael and I are delighted you've decided to visit with us during this Yuletide season. We got something really good to fill your cup with today.
Yes, this is our holiday show of Retire with Coffee, and we have 3 tips to have a happy holiday retirement. We're going to keep it fun, and we're going to keep it simple, because as you can see, I'm Santa's little helper today, so I'm going to feed him the questions and the news, and we're going to run through the show as best we can for you guys. Because tip number 1 to have a happy retirement holiday is to take some baby steps towards this show. So make sure you stop and watch it right now, because the first tip to have a happy retirement holiday is to save a lot in advance, because retirement, 1, is expensive.
Oh, ho, ho.
And 2, the holidays, it seems like people like to overspend, so it keeps Santa really busy.
Very important. Santa loves to be generous. Ho, ho, ho. It's that time of year. Yuletide spirit, it's in the air. The Christmas carols, the chestnuts roasting on an open fire, and all of the goodies that go with it. But at the end of the day, you do want to save money first. Think about this as we get to those New Year's resolutions. Save money first and spend everything else. It's the way to go, because your budget will acclimate itself, and all of a sudden in 2 or 3 months, you'll feel proud of yourself for building up a reserve, and therefore that's an incentive, kind of a praiseworthy reward to encourage you to go further. So save money first, spend everything else, then you can be generous around gift giving time to the people you love. Merry, Merry Christmas.
Yes, the more you save right now, the more generous you can be throughout Christmas in 2018. So save a lot in advance, because the holidays can be quite expensive. Tip number 2 to have a happy holiday retirement is to put those savings to work. So what are a few things that retirees can do to put that money to work, especially without losing that money? Because when you get closer and closer to retirement, it's more about preservation of principal.
It is an alternative. So many people put money in bank CDs or short-term savings, but it doesn't pay anything. A saver, as Warren Buffett would say in his Christmas wisdom, a saver pays a high price for certainty. Maybe consider some alternatives like the 13 or intermediate maturity U.S. Treasuries. Do you know that's a storehouse of value? The last time the market crashed, Treasuries went up, and not only did they get the yield on the coupon, but people also got price appreciation when other markets were plunging. The U.S. Treasury, the U.S. Treasury is considered a flight to quality. And remember, money never really disappears. It just transfers from one perception to another, or one asset class to another. So consider Treasuries as an alternative to CDs for a little bit preferred yield in a rising interest rate economy, but keep those maturities short so that you don't get hurt or whipsawed if interest rates rise more quickly than anybody may anticipate.
Yes, absolutely. We are going through the show as fast as we can today, because
get the sleigh out.
Exactly. Santa's got to get on the sleigh. We are going to get into the 3rd tip to have a happy retirement holiday, and that is to budget and to learn to live more on less. Because, Dad, you always like to say, learn how to buy your lifestyle for half as much, so you could be more generous along the way.
Right. I'm considered frugal. You know, the definition of frugality is I squeeze the nickel so hard I got the Indian riding the buffalo. That makes me cheap. But what I like to think of it as being able to be conservative in day-to-day expenditures and be decadent or indulgent when I want to be. So the bottom line is this. I believe in living with an open hand and be generous with your time and money. I think that's a very, very sound principle of life. The principle of generosity. But at the same point, it's very easy to overspend on things that really have very little value for you. For instance, for me, buying a new car has no pizzazz, because I don't like the idea of driving it out of the showroom and having it depreciate in value. The tires start to wear off, and in a matter of 3 months, I've already lost 20% of my automobile's value. I like to lease my liabilities and own my assets. Lease your liabilities and own your assets, things that truly go up. Cars usually don't fit that bill. Am I right? Now, obviously, there's exceptions, but you get the basic idea. The second thing is a principle I love to say is this. Buy your lifestyle for half as much. Meaning, if you just get a little bit creative, you could probably buy what you want for half. I'll give you one example. If you look at, I have this one gentleman, and he talks to me about how he buys his lifestyle half as much. He snowboards, he's 68, he goes offshore fishing, he's been in the Mediterranean. And what he does is he takes advantage of incentives on credit card offerings, whether it be MasterCard or the Sapphire Blue card from JP Morgan. Now, that's not my style, but he's retired, and what he does is he takes his balances on his credit cards and he switches them periodically to the best offer. Let's say JP Morgan Chase is coming out with an incentive to encourage new cardholders to pick up their Sapphire Blue card. Well, you might get 30,000 miles, right? And if you use that credit card, spend $1,500 in the first 30 days, they double those miles, so that's 60,000, and you can redeem that for instance, frequent flyer miles on Sky Delta Mile program, and basically get yourself 2 round-trip tickets to Asheville if you want to go up to the Biltmore and enjoy a little holiday cheer to see the spectacle of lights at the Biltmore Hotel up in Asheville. Basically, just by switching the balances, he took care of his airfare both ways. Now, at the end of the day, you got to be very careful, because if you're one of those folks that switches credit card balances to avoid interest, you got to be very cautious, because if you make merchandise and purchases and don't pay them off by the deadline, you have to pay interest at 18, 19, and 19.25%, all the way back to the time of purchase, and that can really gouge you. But if you're disciplined in managing your credit liabilities, that's a great way to get incentive miles, courtesy of the credit card company, simply by patronizing their card. So that's not something that I personally do, but God, you know what? For many of you that are retired and like to fancy yourself, buying that nicer vacation for half as much, that is one idea that might just help you do that. I got dozens of them, but that's just one. So at the end of the day, think about, never accept the idea. I saw Mark Cuban, Mike, from Shark Tank, and he was given his 9 tips, and he says, one thing, pay cash and offer, always ask for a better price. Mark Cuban, he's a billionaire. He says, always ask for cash, or can you give me a better price? What's the worst that can happen? They say no. That's one of the reasons he's a billionaire. Billionaires, obviously, know how to do things a little differently. They're contrarian. The white sheep, the herd of white sheep is going like lemmings to the cliff, going off the cliff into the Pacific. The one lone black sheep's going the other way. Be the black sheep, go the other way. And I'm a contrarian at heart, so I'll teach you some of those things. But whether you come to me or Mark Cuban or Michael, my little elf friend here, or Santa Claus, ho, 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 be generous in life, but think about it. Buy your lifestyle for half as much.
Yes, absolutely. The billionaires are not afraid to ask for 5 to 10% off pretty much everywhere they go. So you should take a tip out of their strategies and start to pay less for things. This has been 3 tips to have a happy retirement holiday. We went over saving a lot of money in advance, putting your savings to work, and budgeting so you can buy your life for half as much. This has been a great show, and I know everybody's going to go into the holidays happy and fed.
I got a little secret too, Mike. Can I share this for Christmas? Put this in your stocking. There may be a way. Do you know what your biggest expense may be? You can't even see? And you know what? There's ways maybe to snuff that out. It doesn't contribute to your quality of life. And if you're aware of it, wow, and you can eliminate it, booyah! What a great new year it's going to be.
Yes, you're going to have to keep tuning in so you find out a little bit more about those secrets. This has been Retire with Coffee. 3 tips to have a happy holiday retirement.
Retire with Coffee.
Make sure you like the show below so we keep bringing it on to you. I'm going to let John close it on out as always. I got a lot to do in Santa's workshop, so I'm going to leave now. Peace out.
Yes, ho, ho, ho. And by the way, folks, Merry Christmas. Merry, Merry Christmas. And in the paraphrase of the old Irish prayer, ho, 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 may the wind always be gently at your back. May the sun shine warmly on your face. May the low road rise up to meet the high road, my fellow friend. And until we meet again, and I bless you with an anointing of merry, merry gifts and with shimmering paper and bows, may you be anointed with good health. God bless you and have a magnificent day. Goodbye now.